Fortunate.
All right, you know what? Let's get started. This is awesome. Here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we are live on a Sunday morning, ready to do some podcasting at the Lord's time. And we brought on the Lord's most hated comedian, podcaster, impressionist, actor of you may have seen him in on your TV. You might on Billions. You might have seen him on YouTube doing his various impressions. You might listen to his podcast, Making Podcasts Great Again, Rain on Your Parade, both excellent. It is the homie J-L Cauvin. What's going on, man?
Thank you for having me. A pleasure. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, man. Good to see you again. What's been going on with you, lately?
Well, two things. In my blog draft, I have a blog that I wrote last night called "What If Angel Reese Were White?" And I didn't publish it. I said I'm going to publish it after I appear on the Black Guy Who Tips.
Thank you.
And the sad thing is, I wrote it and I said this title is a little misleading, but isn't that the clickbait game?
Yes,
because it's really the gist of it. The gist of it is like, we've already seen what the WNBA and the world does when you have a black Caitlin Clark. They don't hype her up nearly as much, and I use Maya Moore as my example. Who I'm a late discoverer of, who is phenomenal. And the fact that there's not a major motion picture about her, because that's like, I say in the blog, I'm like, imagine if Patrick Mahomes quit the NFL today to do social justice work, or if Colin Kaepernick had won 2 Super Bowls and an MVP and then took a knee and left the NFL, got kicked out of it. Like, that's the level of sort of athlete and activist we're talking about. And then I said, but on the flip side, if Angel Reese were white, I mean, the verdict should be in, and she's a good player, of course, but right now I feel like the verdict should be in on Rookie of the Year. Like, it's no longer it's so, but yes, the title itself is more of a, enjoy this, internet. I look forward to all your positive comments and interactions.
Yeah, I don't know why you want to step into that race war. I don't know what it is about your self-destructive tendencies that make you go, I can't leave this alone. Because I've been a Caitlin Clark truther on this podcast for day one, but I respect and understand the angst of the black community and the double standard, obviously, of dealing with whiteness and all that shit. And I try not to bring that with me to sports, because obviously sports is on the court, man. Either you ball or you can't ball. It's really not. No one's ever been able to use white privilege to trick us into being like, well, they're good. Obviously, Tim Tebow's the MVP. Like, we saw him on the field. We understand white people love him, and we were like, that motherfucker's sorry as hell.
It's terrible.
And I still feel this way. Black people got so caught up on the internet race war that it essentially made people start acting in the way white people do, where they just start detracting everything that a black person's doing. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's a good president, but what's up with the tan suit? Why is his wife's arm out? And you're like, this motherfucker might be the best president of our lifetime. Right. Yeah, but I mean, he stutters. He kind of like says a lot when he's talking. So that's what they were doing with Caitlin, where it was like this dumb shit. Like, she's getting trapped at half court or full court press in the beginning of the season, 3 weeks after going to the championship in college. And people are like, she can't even beat the press. I'm like, they're not even pressing anyone else. No one else is getting trapped at half court.
No, they did a statistic. They was like, she is the most trapped and has the most defense on her. Like, they were going through like all these ridiculous ass numbers at the beginning of the season. I was like, yeah, because every team is attacking her, and y'all can't act like that's not a factor.
And the other thing was, and like I said, matter of fact, I might as well play my jam because I was right about this shit.
Okay.
But I was like, their schedule is fucking bananas.
Yes, they were.
I don't know why their schedule was that crazy to start the season where they were playing literally like every other day.
Yes.
No other team was doing that. That's one of the
And they was
reasons.
playing good teams too.
That's one of the reasons coming off the break. It seems like they're only playing like once a week or whatever because they were playing that fucking much. And so I predicted when the schedule slowed down, they were going to be better. Predicted coming off of that month-long break, because I was one of the people that was like, worst thing that happened to her is go to the Olympics. That's the worst thing because she ain't rested in a couple years, and that team clearly needs to fucking practice. Like, you could just look at those motherfuckers because she has a skill set that with the passing that I haven't seen before. Everyone's talking about the shooting, but it's really the passing for me where I'm like, damn, I ain't really seen anyone in the league that can pass long distance, fast break like that, and that would take some adjusting to your teammates to get used to that. Those motherfuckers not used to being 50 feet ahead and the ball hits you square in the hands under the basket. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Right.
It's no like Magic Johnson hitting people like in the head because they're like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah, hitting them in the chest because they're not ready for it.
And as a person that loves passing more than anything on the court, and you can tell when it's gelling. It's just time. Like, okay, you play with a person that passes like that long enough, eventually it's just a matter of time before that shit starts working. So so you had that shit and coming off the break and all that stuff. So now she looks great, everyone that was made the bar way too low with the like, she's sorry, she's gonna be out the league, she gonna struggle at the next level, so I don't even know what y'all talking about. All those motherfuckers look stupid as shit right now.
I do call out Diana Taurasi in particular. Not that she's not earned her right to talk, of course, but as soon as she said that, it was like the tournament's not even over. And she's like, oh, rude awakening at the next level. And I felt like that was, you see her coming and you're trying to like put out vibes that'll be like, she's going to end up like scoring more points than Taurasi as a rookie. It
reminds me of something Machine Gun Kelly said, where he said the problem with him is not the streets not fucking with him, it's white critics don't fuck with him the hardest. And this happens in basketball a lot. White people have to go extra hard to prove that like they're down, so they're like, man, Luka's not that good. I'm like,
Luka's good as
the
shit.
Game, you don't have to say he's the best nigga in the league. He's a fucking problem. Like, if he was from Nebraska, you would be sucking his dick. That like we'd have the opposite problem where we have to be like, oh, calm down, dude. He's actually not better than whoever. But that's what happens with this white people shit, where it's like, I gotta go harder to show that I'm my bona fides or whatever. And Diana Taurasi, the other thing that I think was a little unfair about the pushback on her criticism, she was on a fucking broadcast that's the like unofficial broadcast, that like Bomani Jones did during the playoffs. Right. So they're just hanging out. Everybody on the broadcast went to fucking UConn. They're just talking shit. They're not being fair. Like, that was the shit talking. If you come,
here comes Draymond Green to offer his analysis of Rudy Gobert.
Exactly. And so people went out of their way to be like, no, she's not hating at all. And when Caitlin struggled in the beginning, it's gonna be, you gotta see, obviously she was saying something. I'm like, no, it was a little wink, nudge. Like, she had just put UConn out the fucking tournament on a call that people didn't agree with. They were basically like, like, oh man, fuck her, ha ha ha. But at the end of the day, once you get on that fucking court, dog, it don't matter. So the passing's going up, the turnovers are leveling out, going down. Even though I think she's gonna always be a high turnover player because she's making high risk, high reward passes. If I was her coach, I wouldn't stop it. Her coach has clearly gotten better at the adjustments.
Yeah.
But part of that is not necessarily she's a terrible coach. I really think part of that was the unprecedented amount of pressure that they put on Caitlin Clark on defense. No coach was ready for, like, there's no coach in the league that would have been like, well, clearly they're going to fucking double team you at the court and we need to have an offense set around that. But now they've created the offense around that which is some of these concepts. I mean, they're getting fucking layups off of like the hockey assist, where she like passes to the guy to the top of the key and then someone just cuts down for a wide open layup because motherfuckers can't just do the double team anymore. So all that shit to say, like, if the bar hadn't have been so low, I really feel like people could like stand up and like, well, yeah, it was a tough battle, but she's starting to separate herself from Angel, and Angel has surprised us all. We should be giving her nothing but credit for being like, damn, they said you wouldn't even be in the fucking league.
Right.
They were like, you were the one everyone said will wash out the league. Like, you're this double thing is crazy. It's like a Dennis Rodman level. Like, wow, what the fuck?
It's like 20-something games straight with a double. She's like breaking rookie records.
Yeah, she got the 20 rebounds in a row, like 3 games in a row or something. And I want to see how her game adjusts because I think she could go to some Rodman shit where, like, if she stops trying to score and just go strictly to, like, I get a rebound, I kick it out to a score over and over, her shooting percentage would go up a lot because then you won't be forcing contested shots as often. That's what Rodman's secret was. It was like Rodman shoots 60% for because he shoots 4 times and they're dunks. So she could do that. I don't like, but this race war shit took on another level to where people were being like, Angel Reese, the real MVP, Caitlin Clark ain't shit, and it's disgusting. It turned into something whack, and it doesn't make it fun to watch for me.
Right.
And it just made a lot of people actually miserable to watch them talk about the sport.
Which is where I come in because I, of course, thrive in misery.
Right. But I do want to take my victory lap because I definitely was right about this shit. I called Kate.
Rob was right. Yep, Rob was right. Rob was right. Rob was right. Yep, Rob was right. Yeah, Rob was right. Whoop, what was that again? Oh, yeah, Rod was right. Rod was right.
Well, I just want to say, not a well-earned victory lap. This was obvious.
Right.
It was only the race war that made people lose their fucking minds. I got a friend who famously tells me, all the time, hey, I don't take up for white people. Like, white people got enough. If they getting done wrong, I'm not going to say anything. Fuck them. And I get it, and I understand. But I'm like Batman. Okay, like I can't just be like, hey man, I'm only helping out black people today. If I see somebody get mugged, I gotta show up and be like, guys,
right?
Did Chris Pratt say any of the shit that y'all are saying he said, or you just shitting on him?
Correct.
Oh, is Taylor Swift really that? And I'm not like Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, where I'm like, you black women need to stop defending her. But I am on some like, guys, you're missing beautiful basketball just being some haters. And the misery loves company aspect of this online.
Right.
I've seen people that hate on her, and you get 2 things. One, you get like your comrades that no matter how ridiculous the take is will be like, yeah, why isn't she dunking the ball? And you're like, what are you talking about? No one's dunking the ball. Yeah, right. What's wrong with her? They said she was the greatest. Why isn't she the MVP? She's not better than Asia Wilson. And like, okay, that's just hate. Okay.
Right.
But the other thing that they do get, and I have seen it, is there's a tremendous racist backlash fan base that loves Caitlin Clark that I don't interact with because I don't shit on her, and I don't say anything negative about any player in the league. So I don't get the like rah support from the haters or the you blacks don't know how to appreciate a good and so a lot of them are responding to that hatred.
I hate, as much as I like to be a troll sometimes or a contrarian, even though I don't say things I don't believe in just to be contrarian, but sometimes I just am. But it's like I don't like being anywhere near the side of like Clay Travis and Jason Whitlock. Like I'm like, if I agree with them on her talent as a player, please don't consider that me in alignment with them, because they, these are pretty terrible dudes. But at the same time, like I was saying to you offline, it's the same, like comedy wise. Oh, sorry.
Real quick too. Jason Whitlock even had to apologize because he went too hard on Angel Reese and came back and was like, okay, my bad, she can play, but go ahead.
But it's the same thing I feel like with comedy. We talked offline where I was saying there is a MAGA woman, like she's been on like Megyn Kelly's show and Tucker. To me, going on Tucker Carlson's show is a different level of like, okay, this isn't just a media appearance.
Right.
But her Kamala Harris impression, while somewhat mean-spirited, is outstanding. And the woman that's being put up kind of like at the DNC and on CNN and stuff is like fine. But I'm sitting there going, the comedian in me that felt unjustly passed over is like, on a comedy level, this isn't even close. But then you get into that, but I don't really want to support someone who's going all the way in on Tucker Carlson, like who's going that far, who's like that aligned. So it's the same thing here where it's like, I definitely think Caitlin Clark is just, I've said to people, and I wrote about this, where I was like, a lot of people said, hey, Angel Reese getting in her face really elevated the two of them into a rivalry. And that's true. But the fact of the matter is, I started watching Caitlin Clark 2 games earlier because I saw highlights of her on SportsCenter. That was it. I saw 20 seconds of her and I was like, what? I just looked at, I was like, what's that? Like that doesn't look like what I've understood women's basketball to be. So like me tuning in to watch her, yes, it elevated it and made it a big national story, that this race war and this back and forth trash talk, but it was just Caitlin Clark's next level sort of style that I think that's why so many people were watching that Final Four, because it was like, but I saw her. I saw this like trailer in the theater for this woman shooting 30-foot threes like Steph Curry. So I'd like to see the full movie.
Well, and also I think the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese thing, it did more than just elevate the rivalry of them two. It elevated the game. Like the thing that I think isn't quantifiable or just isn't mentioned enough in this thing is that Angel Reese is such a better like marketer of herself.
Yeah, she's a marketing machine. And the thing about her, and this is just my thought process, I think that she had already thought about her image and how she was going to be presented before she even went pro. It kind of started in college, by the way, she was presenting herself and things like that. And then when she became pro, she probably got like a marketing team and all these people around her to promote and push herself, because the thing is, she's going to be somebody that's her career is going to be a time where people aren't going to know Angel outside of basketball and never know she played basketball.
Well, she is a child of the internet and social media. And everything that is good and bad about it. Like she's so in tune with marketing, promoting yourself.
I had a team before, because the NIL deals, like they could get a head start on, like as soon as the finals with Caitlin Clark, it was like the NIL money for both of them came flooding in.
Yeah, and like she just recently got that Reese's Pieces deal, and that's after she had been calling her fans Reese's Pieces. Like she's got a question.
Do you think I could go viral if I bought some Angel Reese's Pieces and did a video of me like, like the Calvin Butts like steamrolling rap records in like the 90s? If I take like a hammer and start like bashing the Angel Reese's Pieces and go, not in my house.
You could definitely go viral. I think you might have an issue with which fans show up at your shows and what they think is funny. I think
well, that's what happens when no fans show up. You get real desperate and go, I'll take any fans.
Yeah,
the opposite of only fans. I'm any fan.
You're gonna be like that comedian that made the jokes about George Floyd, where it's just like, oh man, how you gonna do a live show again? Like I hear that you went viral, but yeah, the thing that's interesting there too is like she's got a podcast coming, and I do wonder if there's a level of overexposure that's going to happen eventually, because she's such a like dynamo, and I've never seen the internet love people forever. I've only seen
they never love people.
I've got the pivot for you. New race war. Well, Travis Kelce can be a media monster, but not me. And all of a sudden, that's right. Why does Travis Kelce get to be dominating the media, but not Angel Reese? I'm here for your podcast, Angel.
Yes. And here, and the last thing too on this, I was thinking about this before we started the show today. I was thinking about it last night. Low key, Angel Reese reminds me a bit of J-L Cauvin. Like honestly, it is like, I'm dead ass serious. It's like, cause she definitely is her number one like fan and promoter of her. Like she's like, look. I don't know, y'all sleeping on me, and she hasn't been wrong. Like she's not wrong. She's not the one saying I'm the rookie of the year or whatever. I'm better than Caitlin Clark. That's not what she's been saying. But she's just been like, y'all love Caitlin Clark a little too much. Reminds me of another person that
Sarah Cooper.
Just as a general thesis, a person that looks up and goes, I mean, they're good. You know, like yeah, Louis C.K. He's a great comedian. A little too much on his dick though. I don't know about that. And Matt Rife, yeah, millions of Instagram and TikTok views. That's great for him. Crowd work is cool, and he's hitting the algorithm. Maybe not the strongest comic, but that's cool. Not everyone wants to be a yeoman's workhorse down here getting 20 rebounds, doing the unsavory, unpaid work that doesn't get the all the money all the time. And so that it reminded me a bit of the J-L Cauvin of it, and bit of an asshole. Some of my favorite people are a bit of an asshole. My favorite player of all time.
I just went from bashing her Reese's Pieces to now I'm going to do like Reese's Pieces a day on cake. Like I just did a 180.
Sprinkle of Reese's.
It was just so funny. It's like just the way the world parallels, because I was kind of like, yeah, I could see. Maybe that's why I like her, is that because I think she is a bit of a dick. I don't have the genderized sensibilities of most people around, like, we'll be a lady or whatever.
Right,
I'm just like, no, fuck her. We're on the court. What, like, we get
competitors.
It's not like I'm gonna punch you when we get off the court, but on the court, it's fuck you. You're trying to beat me, I'm trying to beat you, or whatever. But yeah, so I thought about that, man. That was so funny, man.
Very good.
Yeah, and lastly, man, I'm not looking forward to Monday because, of course, Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. These are the people. This is the other side that's making it bad. Is the people who are vocally parroting right wing, like kind of those troll right wing accounts, but claiming that it's not about that. And like Caitlyn got flagrantly fouled again or something this week, and I'm just like, oh, come on, man, because Monday. It was like Caitlyn's literally laughing it off a second later, dapping up her teammates. Probably shouldn't have been in the game up 25 at that point anyway. Like,
agreed.
It was time to. I don't know why they didn't pull her, knowing that rivalry gets a little contentious. And then it's gonna be, oh Lord, sweet milk of magnesia, Caitlin Clark. All she did was try to play with these ungrateful wenches. That's what they did to her porcelain perfect skin.
They treated her. I think within like 3 minutes, she got fouled like 3 times, like a foul a minute. It was like, goddamn.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know if all 3 were on her. I think it was the first call was some bullshit.
Yes.
Where I forget the player. She was just like running through a screen or something. They were like, foul. And I was like, it's bullshit. The second one, she was like, fuck it. We're down 25. I'm actually going to elbow this motherfucker in the chest. It was like, okay, that's another foul. And then the defense, right. Then the next possession, Caitlin's dribbling out of court, and she literally just hip checked her, and I'm just like,
all you see is her just running. I was like, dog, this is a football play. They gonna call that bullshit. You came out of nowhere.
It was so dumb, but also as a league, is low key kind of smart. Like this, like it's low key helping the league when bullshit like this happens.
Yeah, people talk about.
I know that's the long distance view that takes away the race war aspect and the anger about it and the immediacy, but like,
because they're selling a product.
Like they sent an email out for the WNBA, I want to say Friday, that was like, you can pick your number 1 rivalry. I'm like, y'all don't send that out every year. Come on, let's be honest.
First time y'all sent this shit out.
Y'all know that's the first time.
The winner is Blacks versus Caitlyn.
Right. Like we all know what that's gonna look like, and we know why you did it. But okay, buddy,
put your money down.
Like, but honestly, it's smart. It's cynical, but it's smart. The league should be leaning into this. They kind of do got some Magic versus Bird shit going, and yeah, keep it going because people will watch based off the race war. It's sad that they don't have another game against each other,
right?
But fuck it, next season space them out a little bit more, because clearly the motherfucking highest selling ticket of all time was Saturday to watch the motherfuckers fight, or Friday to watch them play each other.
Yeah, they was like, the ticket prices were ridiculous. They was like, it was like impossible to get into the game if you ain't already had no tickets.
And what else you got going on with comedy? Because that was only 0.1, and I know
comedy, actually a lot of stuff, and I have to carefully word what I'm about to say, but half blackface. Obviously, I've talked up the special a lot, and I've gotten great feedback on it. If you did watch it, everybody, if you did watch it, please leave a nice review. Like you guys always say, leave a review. Leave a review for the special on Amazon. But the album Half Blackface, which was a different set, about 30% different, it was released a year ago. Well, I now own 100% of it. And so what I'm going to be saying this week when I sort of send out my newsletter and stuff like that is, hey, if you've streamed it before, stream it again. If you bought it, maybe buy it for a friend, or, you know, if you're a real super fan, just buy this version. Because now I own 100% of it. And I will, that's all I will say on that issue.
So on the ship,
I won't ask you too much because I know it's like some litigation type shit, but does that mean
I can neither confirm nor deny that?
Right. Type shit. That's type shit I believe legally covers us from my time at Game Theory. But is it a new, like, so like if I bought it before on iTunes or something, or Apple,
it's a new listing. It's a new listing. So the old listing is deleted from everywhere, and I believe the new listing, which should have like the copyright J-L Cauvin now instead of copyright someone else, that should be the only version that you can find now.
Okay.
And I say, as much as I love the video special, and I'm very proud of that, and it has like 20, 25 different minutes, as a pure set, energy, just energy, and like, I can't even describe it. That's my number one. So if you've never listened, if you've only watched the video, then the album is something different. And obviously I'm asking some super fans to just be like, hey, do what you can. If you don't want to buy it again, fine, but gift it to somebody. So that's sort of the one new thing this week that I'm going to be promoting. And then I have a bunch of shows coming up. And would love people to make it, St. Paul, Minnesota, the middle of this month, a big show. I'm doing also a series of shows just as Trump to promote Making Podcasts Great Again as we lead up to the election. So Rutherford, New Jersey, September 28th, October 11th, New York City. And then October 18th and 19th, I'm doing a Trump show on the 18th in Chicago. And then I'm headlining just pure stand-up on the 19th. I'm in Southern Virginia, Emporia, Virginia, which is like right over the border from North Carolina, on October 30th, Hartford, Connecticut, November 2nd, Princeton, New Jersey, November 8th and 9th. There's a bunch of stuff, but like they're all on my calendar, and most of them have ticket links up. But it's obviously, this is, I think, the 15th time I've talked about 50th. I'm sorry, not 15th, 50th time about hanging it up as a comedian. But it is, it has been, the last 4 years have been very successful for me, but also very psychologically and emotionally taxing. And I see the way the business is changing, and I don't have representation. And I say this sometimes briefly on my podcast, but I genuinely, without sounding like a miserable, bitter person, I'm genuinely concerned about the future of sort of comedy, art in general, and comedy in particular, because I think, we're at this place now where I feel like we're moviegoers. We like going to the movie. I recently just I tried to buy Godzilla -1 on Blu-ray, but it's not out in America till like a year from now. Japan's really, they're really saying F you America with that movie in every way. But I bought Oppenheimer on Blu-ray because I was like, I want, somewhere along the way in the last like 5 or 6 years, many movies have started to feel just like apps. Just like I go on my TV, there's 40 new movies that I haven't seen, and I just kind of mow through them like, yeah, okay, I got through my movies, I got through my TV shows. It's not that long ago where like movies were consistently a bigger deal, where even TV shows were a bigger deal. Like Breaking Bad, we don't even have like kind of, I think, a Breaking Bad or a Game of Thrones anymore in a weird way. And that's very recent. So I see with comedy, which is like more personal to me, I'm starting to see that we are in a place where we're like feeding the internet. Like our job is to feed the internet, and you can make great stuff, but there comes a point where it's like, am I just churning out stuff to make sure I stay in the algorithm mix? And do my fans appreciate me as an artist, not to sound pretentious, but or as just like I'm a distraction that pops up on their phone and it's fun. And then and it's, I feel like I really wonder, Bo Burnham is sort of the last guy I can think of where I would say that is a sort of, to use an overused term, generational talent. That's a guy who represents the best of what we can be as artists in this new digital, constantly making different content sort of space. But how many more of him are there going to be when people just get into art now as like I'm going to make content, and then it's like, I don't know what I want to do with it, but if I get popular enough, I guess I'll do comedy. And Hawk Tuah Girl is a there's always examples like that. But I think she's going to be less and less rare. I think more and more people will just be like, well, comedy is like, I can't sing, I can't paint, but I can talk, and stand-up comedy is just a way of talking. So I guess I'll go to clubs and I'll do that. And it's that has been frustrating me for a while. But the thing that happened yesterday, which you had added me with the Bill Maher post, I pride myself obviously on being original. I don't rip anybody off.
Right.
But for whatever reason, it really bothered me yesterday. Like, you weren't the first person to tag me in that.
Oh, okay.
But it bothered you the second. But it bothered me not because after you tagged me in it, I said, let me look up when he said this. Because I thought please let it be this week on his show so I can be like, hey, look at me.
Right. That's what I thought. That's why I tagged you. It was like, oh, you just say this?
Right. But it was, and then I looked it up and it was from 2019. And it was the first time. I have all these external complaints about the comedy world. Everybody who's ever listened to me for more than 5 minutes is aware of that.
Right.
But the Bill Maher, which it was a great point. I basically did a P. Diddy. I basically unintentionally remixed his joke. I added my spin to it. But the crux of it was his.
Right.
And that's happened a few times in my life. Like, one of my first big bits in DC when I started doing comedy was I was doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, like 30% of all comedians at the time. Right. But I did a thing where I was saying at his family reunion, he just referred to everybody as a negger.
Yeah.
Like, to shorten the name. So it was a very simple sketch, but that did very well for me. And then, like, 3 months after I was using that as like a closer in my little 10-minute sets, Dave Chappelle comes out with the Nigger Family on Chappelle Show. And I got multiple texts that night because everybody was watching it. You know what I mean? That's another thing with art. It used to be, I got to be 10 o'clock Wednesday or whatever, Comedy Central. And then like 10:30, you might get texts like, did you see it? Or like people, and I got 3 different texts from comedians like, sorry, man. Like, there was this acknowledgement, like, I guess your bit is now dead because you can't just get on stage and be like, no, I know nobody's ever heard of me, but I had this idea, if not first, at the same time. And so with the Bill Maher point, that I'm very proud of that bit.
Right.
Like, and I was saying to Laura last night, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to post that bit again.
Right.
Like, because I didn't steal it, but I also believe in, I now know that I didn't claim that territory.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't commit any integrity crime here. I'm completely not guilty. I came up with a good bit on my own. I did my own thing, but like, now I'm like, that's Bill Maher's property as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And I've had that happen with jokes before, but this was the first time that I like cared, that I really cared about a bit and thought I had really discovered gold. And that just bummed me out last night, where I was like, what if I'm not, it's one thing, but of course the spirals that I can get into, I was like, what if I just don't have it anymore? What if I think I'm better than I am?
You covered it.
Yeah, you're making me think when you're talking about like art and how it's changed. That's something that I've thought about too. I was listening and they were saying a school had an issue where they had students submitting art, and they had people presenting AI art, and they was asking should it be valid. And the people on the board was like, no, you if it's AI art, it needs to be a whole separate category.
Right.
You can't take something AI and take something that people have set down with like clay or what, you know what I mean, whatever utensils and paint and shit, and and compare them to, because it's not the same. And the thing about AI just mimics what's already out there. AI does not come up with anything new. It does not come up with a new concept. It just takes what is already out on the internet and what's already out in the world and remix it and tweak it. And the people that are in charge, they want cheap labor. So they are selling this AI to the masses, and right now they're actually scamming people because the shit cannot do what they claim it can do. And so it's very irritating. And also, I think too, when it comes to art, we have, and Roger has talked about this, we have a generation that doesn't respect art. They don't respect paying people for music. They don't respect, paying people for movies. They don't only thing they want to get paid for is their work. If I do a job, I want to get paid for it. Anything that's quote unquote creative, which you can't put a dollar sign on it, I don't think that I'm obligated to pay for that. So now you have a generation that's grown up in I call it the free generation, where they feel like they have the right to everything, the right to your ideas, the right to everything you put out. They just have the right to it. Fuck it, make me more. Don't care if you go broke. Don't care if you get paid for it or not. Somebody ought to figure out how to pay for it. Well, then I put a commercial. You complain about the fucking commercials, but the money got to come from somewhere.
And
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They be sad when it's gone.
Right.
Like, what are you sad about? You never fucking supported this thing for real. I remember when Napster started, and I was like, I understand everybody feels great right now. You go home, any fucking music you can think of, you can take it off the internet, put it on a CD, play it in your car. Everyone's fucking doing it. It's ubiquitous. And everyone's blaming the music, the companies. Like it was, the companies. You put on a CD. I just want one track or whatever. Well, it's not the single. Well, how come they put out an album and like only 4 songs are good? And I'm like, well, that's just the fucking game, dude. That sometimes the album isn't good and you spent your money, but you did the right thing. They got the money, and then some. What about the many other fucking times it's great? And you're like, man, I'm really glad that they got my $15 so they can continue to make more of this music, right? But
they got so mad at the Metallica drummer, Lars Ulrich, became like the big villain against Napster. And it was like this idea of like, you're rich, like, why are you doing this? It's like, because the deal is he made work. He made art. He made music that you like. And all of a sudden it's like, I can't get it for free. Fuck you, Metallica. It's like, what?
Right.
We worked. We did our work. Our talent that we cultivated is now something we sell in the marketplace.
And it's the most, and like music, art, comedy, that kind of stuff, it is some of the most like impactful shit we have. You know, like literally it lasts generations or whatever. And if we would have had the same idea about like, say, just like physical CDs in a store, if we would have said, I don't want to pay for it, I just go in and I take 15 and I walk out the store, and I expect that to be fine with everyone involved, we'd be like, you going to jail. That's crazy. What the fuck are you thinking? Right? If you were like, we just sneak into everyone's concerts. Like, yeah, they have concerts. You're supposed to pay an entry fee. We just bum rush the doors, and we're in there for free, and they can't do shit about it. We make them play the music. We'd all say that was wrong, but suddenly, it was not wrong anymore. And if anything, it was everyone else's fault that we were stealing. It was, it's the radio, and it's this and it's that, and it's the company. Why didn't the companies come out with an easier way for us to listen or whatever? And so now we've come full circle to this moment where, because we never really respected art,
right?
Artists don't respect art.
Right.
Like you have comedians that don't respect comedy. Why would they? You can't actually make a lot of money doing it. Like, we don't have J-L is the last 2 people that watch comedy stand up. We don't have tentpole stand up. You know what I mean? Like, there was
everything's special because it's now about, we need to feed the machine 5 specials a day. So the special is no longer special. That's not an idea that I coined. Right. But literally, it's like,
and it's like, why would, as an artist coming up, why would you look at all this landscape that is clearly, it's just it's like looking at land that is just decreasing in value, and being like, I own all this real estate, and everybody's like, yeah, that's awesome. No one wants that shit. You know what we want? We want crowd work TikToks. We want 30-second fucking skits. We want everything but just, hey man, this guy's been doing stand-up for 20 years. He's in the clubs every week. He's worked his way up. He's finally doing his first special, and it's gonna be a big deal. And fucking HBO came through as the gatekeepers and said, yo, this is a guy you need to fucking know about, you know. And so I think a lot of artists have just looked at that and said, what do I want to be? Do I want to be Matt Rife or do I want to be Earthquake? Now, Earthquake got that special on Netflix. I don't know a person that didn't like that special. Like,
it was fun.
But that's a dude that's been in the game for so fucking long and grind, and you can feel it when you press play on that shit. You like, this guy's a professional,
right?
He's gonna hit me with the hardest 40 minutes of jokes he got, and then he's out. He didn't even do the thing where you stretch it to an hour or whatever. He was like, here's my hardest 35-40 minutes. And welcome. If you don't know who I am, now you will know, and you will remember the special, right? That is so rare now.
Yes.
And I can understand why somebody coming up is like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing the viral. I'm doing the TikTok challenge, guys. I got the dance. Oh, come see me at the club tonight. And it's lucrative. Like, those are the motherfuckers getting the comedy deals.
And people don't.
To a girl, I don't even count because she's not an entertainer. It was literally like, that shit is like the dude that they climbing.
She found a lottery ticket. She found a lottery ticket. That's not. No, I get that. But I think, like, to me, the internet, as great as it's been. And as you know, I disagree. Actually, smartphones I don't think are a net positive, but the internet I think is a net positive.
Right.
But I've seen it in everything we digitize, we cheapen it. I remember seeing people will complain about journalists, and then you're like, oh, who do you say? Well, I don't pay. I don't subscribe to anything. I don't pay for anything. You'll see it. Like, I remember reputable people on the internet when they first started, like New York Times, Washington Post were free when they first went on the internet. Then they were like, we got to charge for this because what do we do? Like, we're going to start losing a ton of money. And I remember seeing somebody on Twitter go, like kind of a media entertainer sort of guy, not like a pure comedian, but go, I'll be back when it's free again. I'm going here now for my news. And it was like, that would sound crazy now. But at the time, it's like, as soon as something goes on the internet, it becomes cheaper. And that's why I know you're an e-reader guy, and I think that's fine. Obviously, e-readers are fine, but knowing me, I'm like, I want to have a big book library in my apartment because it will, just like I like to have my Blu-rays. I don't buy nearly as many anymore, but to me, that's like, I've made a choice that you occupy space in my home, so I will continue to view your book or your film as the way I viewed it 20 years ago. It's like, ooh, I got Gladiator. Ooh, I got this. Like, because it helps it, whether it's human nature or just the way we've come up, it helps it feel like something important.
Well, I'll say news is way different to me than like a Kindle book or something, right? Like, that's honestly so I can have 300 books and not fill up my, right?
Of course.
But like the newspaper, I don't get a physical newspaper. You know, I pay. But you pay for it. $30 a month or whatever. Like, I'm sure it sounds crazy to y'all listening. Like, Netflix ain't even $30 a month. I give a fuck that much about sourced local news that is directly coming to me. It's that important. I get an email every day. It's when people say, Rod, how are you so informed on your local elections? When we talk about it on the pregame, that's how, because I'm reading about the shit every day. I also pay for the Queen City Nerve, which is an independent newspaper. But you have to pay those people. What I think people didn't realize in this fallacy of like running from paying for work, which is why I always say, I know y'all want to say it's capitalism, but a little bit is sus, right? A little bit is sus. Because like capitalism didn't make you look at the journalists in your neighborhood and be like, I'm not paying that motherfucker. Something about you said, if I can get it for free, why would I pay you? And that's not a system. That's an internal integrity thing. Because I know people with integrity that wouldn't do that. That would be like, I'll just pay for the paper then. But my major point being, with the news thing, and then Karen got it. The news thing is interesting because what people didn't realize in this dichotomy of like, I'll just go to this other site. If it was a pyramid, the newspaper was the base. So once you take away that, everything up there was just stealing from the newspaper. It was just, okay, the Miami Herald did this, copy, fucking paste, put it in the Miami Deluxe. It's free, everybody. It's coming straight to your Twitter.
Well, that was Huffington Post's rise to success, was aggregating things other people had done.
Yes. And so once we lost that tent pole that actually had some level of integrity, some level of journalistic standards, it eroded everything. So now even that, the foundational part that we have, it's more reflective of the old school internet now.
Yes.
Journalists now they're not practicing journalism in the way they used to practice journalism. It is very much like, we need the clickbait headline.
Yeah.
We need the clip that's gonna go viral on Twitter.
You don't have editors. You don't have people checking stuff. Be having grammatical errors. The shit don't make no sense.
A lot more hot take type columns than there are like the studious, like, okay, look, the truth of something is probably gonna be kind of boring, so we don't want a complete hot take. Like, you can have a hot take editorial once in a while. That shit that the New York Times did with Joe Biden, where there's 5 hot take, he need to step down in a row. That kind of stuff wasn't happening. It would be like, maybe you get one guy like that, maybe 2 in a week. But that kind of thing where it's like, come on in, write a piece. We're not, fuck it, we'll just spell check it and hit print. That, I think that is what's different. And so once again, the short-sightedness of, well, I just want to go somewhere where I can read an article with no ads and I don't want to have to pay for a subscription. It ends up with, why is the New York Times saying Donald Trump's the greatest and Kamala Harris is a bullshit artist? Like, because it's like TikTok and it's like Twitter and it's like Instagram. What gets your attention on Instagram? It doesn't get your attention when they're like, well, actually, you know what? Caitlin Clark is good. She's setting records. She's might be one of the best rookies of all time in the WNBA. And you know what? Angel Reese is also good. She's setting records and she clearly overexceeded every expectation people had of her. No one wants to hear that. What they want to hear is, poor Missy Ann, oh Lord, geez, leave her alone. She's just trying to play basketball for you ungrateful black women. What's wrong with y'all? That shit is what we're going to share. That's the clip that's going to go viral. And now our news reflects that. Karen, I promised you seconds. So go ahead.
Okay, I got 3 things. Number 1, and Mary kind of said, you get what you pay for. Shit is free. So when it's free, guess what you don't have? You don't have editors. You don't have people proofreading. You don't have people actually doing investigation to confirm that the sources are correct. You also, when shit is free, you also increase shit getting hacked, just shit getting stolen, because you're not paying for shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put in on it, but you want your shit to be safe. Like for that, you can't have it both ways. Number 2, and to kind of piggyback on what J-L was talking about, I think we're going to lose generational talent across all boards when it comes to creativity, because you're going to have people, because a lot of people there are people out there that make music that are great across the board, but we've kind of, and it's a rarity, we've kind of lost the generation, particularly I'm gonna say when it comes to like R&B, women R&B particularly, people that they could blow, like you'd be like, oh my God, what is this? Like that generation of singer, you don't get them no more. You get somebody that can hit a certain range, they're ticky-tacky tweak, remix, reflat, you know, do something to their voice, and all of a sudden they touring. But the people that can actually when they sing, it would just bring you to tears. You'll be like, oh my God, what is this? We don't have those voices anymore. And I do think that this is kind of getting those people out of the paint. Yes, you can go straight to your audience. Yes, you can do the things now like never before. No, you don't have the gatekeeper. So it's pluses and minuses to it. But a lot of those people aren't going into those fields. A lot of people like that are comedians that are really, really funny. They're like, why would I go into comedy? I don't want to have 45 jobs. Because before, when I went into comedy, my job was fucking comedy. Yes. I paid other people to do the other shit. Now, before I can get somebody to say they represent me, I got to have TikTok followers. I got to have Twitter followers. I got to be my own social media manager. I got to put myself on the like people are like, why am I doing all of this shit that is actually somebody else's job? I just want to be fucking funny. It's like you're stripping a lot of the time that somebody was spending the creativity doing other shit. you know.
Yeah.
And so people that like this is their love, like all types of art that we will probably never get to hear in our lifetime. These people are going to office jobs. They were like, why the fuck would I do this and go through all this when I can go be a waitress or waiter somewhere and make a living and be just fine and sing to my family members and friends in that church and be just fine. And number three, I feel like people would never admit this, particularly here in America. We've never got over slavery. So everybody wants a slave. And the reason why I say this is because the people on top want to pay you the least. So you want to take your little bit of money that you got and you want to pay somebody else the least. So you feel like you quote unquote work for free. So you don't want to pay anybody else for their jobs. So it's like the slave wants a slave, and it doesn't make no sense because nobody's benefiting from this.
Right. All right. Before we get into the next part, I did want to play some music so that we can get paid.
Yay!
So that people can complain about the ads on this free podcast.
Yes,
complain. Are they? I meant to ask. I was going to come on and pretend to be one of my fans and say, Rod, I'm glad you guys are having success. And the more ads probably means you're reaching more listeners. But I'm going to have to stop listening soon because the ads are getting really annoying.
Yeah, sorry you gotta hit the skip button, everybody. But guess what? Find hit the skip button. Yeah, what's funny about that is we haven't gotten that many complaints about it. I saw a few, but I'm still trying to figure out how uploading to iHeart is different than uploading to Spotify. Because with Spotify, I could literally be like, this break, 2 ads or some shit like that. With this, I just put the breaks in. I have no fucking idea how many ads are going in there and what y'all are getting.
Right.
And I've experimented where I'm like, okay, I'll put 3 this time and see what that means. But
well, I can say you've been getting more ads. Like I've noticed, like it went from like 2 minutes of ads to now like 3 to 3.5 minutes of ads at some of the breaks, and in my head, I assume that means that's if they're putting you more ads, that means there's got to be more listeners. I would think like that they're, you know what I mean? Who knows?
I don't know, but I've been experimenting behind the scenes, so it's good to get this feedback because now I think it's set up to if I just put a break and I don't put anything, I think people will get 3 ads. But sometimes I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, so I'm like, should I be putting a fucking ad here? And I'll put like, all right, put 2 ads here. But now I know like it's making the breaks longer. So clearly it was working before where they just put the ads automatically. So now I'll just slide them in with no extra ads. So thank you for the feedback, everybody. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the thing I did want to say though, because I know we're a bit pessimistic, I still think you can't beat talented art.
Agreed.
It will always you're right, Karen, that more people will be discouraged out of it. Mm-hmm. Because it's definitely a harder path, but this shit don't work.
Yeah, like this shit mimic people.
This shit where you don't have not the AI. I'm saying this shit where people do not have the actual talent to do what they're trying to do. It just does not work. If like it will always eventually erode down to that motherfucker. Like every single time. Like I'm looking at what's happening with like Ice Spice or like Sexy Red, who are more of a like social media phenomenon than they are an artist. Mm-hmm. And you just watching people just get tired of their shit in real time, where it's like y'all went from like, this is gonna be the greatest, we got stuff, so woo, we love it, and then like she raps like she's reading I think it was Vinay on Twitter said she raps like she's reading the morning announcements at school. I say yes, that's how she rap. Like that's not staying power. Mm-mm. And there's no amount of general like enthusiasm for something different on the internet that can make me show up to her show,
right,
watch her do that performance and be like, that was good. No, I'm gonna watch her do that performance and be like, that's a TikTok lady, that's what she does. So she does that for all the time. That's not just a bit. Okay, all right. And so I think it'll be a little different for like say a Matt Rife who actually could do crowd work for an hour a bunch of places in America, whatever. Like, I'm not saying he's the same, but like, just, not to bring up the aforementioned name, but Sarah Cooper, there's a reason that they couldn't get it to work on Netflix because it was a thing that worked on TikTok, but you can't like TikTok tour lip sync. Like, it don't hit, it won't ever hit the same. So I don't think I think at the end of the day, art will come back. Because I think you'll have to, because I think the audience will not fucking keep supporting shit that they know is bad,
Right.
I think where my bitterness comes in, obviously, here is I hope you're right, but I can't help but think, why did I have to be part of the generation that started for about 4 or 5 years? My career started the way comedy had been for 50 years. Write, go to open mics, get better, submit tapes, get better, perform, right? So we were born, like me and some of my friends who were in that, like we started between, 2000 and 2005, where it's like, there were no podcasts. Social media was a thing on college campuses, and YouTube was just starting. So all you had was, I want to become a really good comedian. Now, for people in later generations, they jump into a different ecosystem. But I was comedically born into the old way. And then you have to go, oh, okay, but I still want to be a great comedian first. Like, you can't shake that. And so, okay, I guess I'll do YouTube though. I'll put some stuff on YouTube. Maybe I'll do some sketches, put some stand-up. Okay. Oh wait, podcasts are now the thing. Okay, well, I'm going to take some more time out of my day to try and reach this market. And then TikTok is like compared to all this other stuff, the social media is like, the assembly line or industrialization compared to TikTok's internet. Like, it has changed everything. And I didn't think that was possible for something within the system to somehow like break the system the way it did. But TikTok dictates. I mean, you got Facebook, Instagram trying to be TikTok, and they were already dominant players. That's how big TikTok has been. And so when I look at that, I go, I hope you're right, but I can't help but think, but why does my generation have to be the one that gets lost?
No, look, being right, it don't necessarily mean anything to be right, but I feel like I'm going to be right just because I'm watching it happen in real time, and people be disappointed over and over and over again with these artists that have because there has been and I don't mean this in the bad way, but there has been no gatekeeping. But gatekeeping used to also kind of be your practices and standards, right? It used to be like, hey, we can't let you on the air and you don't know how to fucking talk. So you don't have no stage presence. Yeah, you don't get to be on ESPN like that or whatever. And now we got Pat McAfee up there, and it's like, oh, actually you do. And it's like, okay, well, now that makes Stephen A. Smith start just talking. That makes Shannon Sharp want to start a podcast where he's talking about fucking women and shit. Right. That's what happens. You're fucking up the whole industry with this. But I think people slowly just get tired of this shit. It just don't hit the same way. And eventually those with actual talent will be what's left. Cause it's like, I don't want to, like, once you started seeing acts that can't tour, that used to could take for granted, I can tour. Yes, you take for granted. I think that people look at their money differently now. So, I think it's happening with TV too. All this shit getting canceled, all these streaming services realizing like, fuck, maybe we should just sell our shit to Netflix like we used to do. Because sinking $700 million into TVs and movies that 4 people want to pay $10 a month to see, maybe that's not the smart game plan that we thought it was. So it's kind of like the expansions and of the industry, and it's all coming back down. Now I did want to get into some other topics. Yeah. And other stuff.
And you did inspire me though with what you said earlier about like nobody wants to hear, well, actually Caitlin Clark's pretty good and like she probably should win Rookie of the Year. I thought maybe I'll start a TikTok account called Room Temperature Takes, and it's just a series of reasonable state. Like the whole account is just like, hey, Angel Reese has had a pretty good year, but I think should be clear that Caitlin Clark should win Rookie of the Year. Bye. And that's like just posts like that. Like, I get why some people support Trump, but overall, I just don't think he shares the values of our democracy. All right, bye, guys.
Yeah,
Yes, just
I love
really
that.
reasonable shit.
I love
yes.
that. I love that.
Honestly,
Honestly,
temperature take. I'm here for it.
if you could deliver it like it's a hot take, but it's still a room temperature take.
Oh, yes, and that will probably get like if I'm like, let me like just WWE promos where it's just like everybody who thinks Angel Reese should be Rookie of the Year, I get it. She's pretty good, but I think overall Caitlin Clark has had the better rookie season.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, start it with a 10-second silent pause, like you're setting like a Stephen A. Like like one of those like oh shit,
Like you're thinking about it.
he's about to say something now, and
About to
it's
drop them
deep
bars.
breath,
No
just
shit.
like-
No shit.
Let me tell you something.
yeah, exactly.
Bum. I'm here for it.
Guys, I've been watching The Bear. It's a good drama TV show. It's got a great cast. But however, I don't think it's a comedy. And it's just like, well, everyone knows it's not a comedy.
Have you seen Abbott Elementary? Have you seen Seinfeld? They make you laugh. But I don't laugh during The Bear. I'm damn near in tears.
That's room temperature hot
Room
take.
temperature take. All right.
I'm here for it.
Let me play music. So we might put another commercial here, and then we're gonna go to a set. Oh wait, what segment do I want to do? Oh, just the normal news.
Okay.
But here's some music. It's very slow and dramatic.
Music.
All right, psycho music. That's called Try Harder. All right, news. Tiger King Joe Exotic offers Trump advice on how he can defeat Kamala Harris.
And he's still in jail.
He is still in jail, Karen. That's correct.
I'm saying, unless I'm going crazy, that nigga locked up.
Yeah, maybe he's anticipating Trump getting in there with him or something. I don't.
Maybe
trying to help him.
unity. Yeah.
But yeah, Tiger King got asked about Donald Trump in an in-depth jailhouse interview. Oh
How
God,
in depth is this? This is
nothing says our current media landscape like we need an in-depth in-jail interview with Tiger King. Okay, we got to figure out where's this guy on the issue.
You know what? This goes back to what we were talking about before. The standards are low.
All right. So this was Newsweek that interviewed him. And he says, Trump has to explain to the people what we can do to better the lives of the American people. We can't afford gas, can't afford rent, we can't afford food. We have to give back to where American people could take care of the American people. If he would just explain some of this to the American public, he would win on a landslide. He also said he's hoping to secure a place in Trump's cabinet if Trump wins. He said in order to do so, Trump will need to keep his mouth shut and get on track, concentrate on explaining to the American people the value of drilling our own oil, our gas, and our own coal, get back to how we were going to sustain America without having to pay every other country for the same thing we could provide here. So there you go.
This is where, remember you played the clip of Abby Phillips on CNN interviewing, I forget which rapper it was.
Cameron.
Yeah, and you could tell she was just it was like, okay, when can I wrap this up? Like, this isn't what we're looking for. Like, if I'm with Newsweek and I get sent there, first of all, I'd be like, no. Like, right. No. Why? What? I'm a journalist. Why am I going to interview? This guy's completely irrelevant. And then it would be like, fine, you'll be fired if you don't go. Okay, I go. And then when he starts giving me advice on what the president should do, okay, and now can I leave? Now can I? Like, this is, what am I doing here?
Right. Why am I here?
And I'm so, this is just so, the Trump stuff, it bothers me so, I mean, it hasn't stopped bothering me because people keep saying things like, well, with Donald Trump, his supporters and like surrogates and everything, even when they're criticizing him, they're like, you know, he just has to get his message out to the American. I'm like, his message is out.
Yes, it is.
His message couldn't be clearer. Vibes, hate, cruelty. There's no agenda. Like people, even his surrogates
Right.
will go, you know, what America want, what they know Donald Trump, Kamala Harris hasn't told what she's going to do. People know that Donald Trump is for an America first agenda. Wow. Oh, you've answered all questions then on Donald Trump. Whereas Kamala Harris, I know why she has to like go through the motions and everything. And it's important and in a real country, which we are no longer. Yes, it's very important that I know what her policies are, what she's going to do in more specifics. But right now, I'm sorry, not what's her name? Kamala Harris. So she's not Donald Trump. Oh, okay. That I now know enough about her positions that I can vote for her. It's this, and there was a poll on CNN this morning when I was before I went to church that I saw. That's how I like to get riled up for church. I would get mad at America and beg forgiveness for the next hour. And they were like 84% of Americans say they know all they need to know about Kamala Harris. And I'm sure that just means good or bad. But 15% say they need to know more. Now, you guys were talking about the independent, the bullshit independent voter, I think on the recap episode. But this is like a different demographic where it's like, what? Like I don't even care who you're voting for. What in God's name are you talking about?
Right.
Like, what do you need to know more about? In all honesty, like I said, in a normal election, if it was insert normal Republican guy, like the one of two or three, if Adam Kinzinger is running for the Republicans, where he has proven himself to be conservative, but an absolute patriot and dedicated to our systems and structure. Okay, now we can have a real debate. I can be like, well, Kinzinger seems too conservative on this. Where's Kamala on that? Then we can have that discussion. That's what a normal country should do. We have the Tasmanian devil running for the GOP spot again. Like he doesn't say anything that makes sense. He just wants to destroy and spin around.
Right, and we're not asking him. What's funny is we're not asking him that. Like that's what's funny is like the same journalists will be like, well, Kamala should do like a sit down interview every week and explain her policies. I'm like,
nobody does that.
Okay, but where's your segment on like Donald Trump said this bullshit? We don't know how he's going to pay for it or do it.
Right.
Well, that's the J-L Cauvin / Bill Maher thing where it's like we've now accepted that Donald Trump has no ideas.
Right.
Is a terrible person. And instead of using that as a criticism, that's now his, in other words, Kamala Harris's average is we want to hold her to the standard of a rigorous, detailed examination of her policies, her background, and is she fit to lead? And that used to be the standard for a president. But Donald Trump at the same time gets to, my hands are off. I'm like giving you a hand demonstration way off camera. His standard is not that standard because they've kind of given up, just like America has given up asking Republicans to do normal work for their candidate. It is, well, Donald Trump, his average is racist, incompetent, hateful piece of shit. So that's the standard he has to hit. Right. So as long as he meets that standard, we don't have to ask him further questions.
That's my thing though, because I remember during the Biden thing when everybody was telling him to step down, my thing was like, okay, if this is going, because the argument wasn't we're being biased against Biden. Their whole thing was like, no, any candidate that's struggling like this, you got to look past your party. You got to look past this one. You have to say something. I'm like, okay, this is a moral imperative. Nigga, no moral imperatives right now. Like I have clips of him from just like the last 24 hours that honest, like I hate to do this low of a bar comparison, but it's literally like if this was Obama, we'd be losing this is actually if it was anybody but Trump, we'd be losing our mind. Here's a clip, 1 minute long. He's trying to finish this thought.
She destroyed the city of San Francisco. And I own a big building there. I shouldn't talk about this, but that's okay. I don't give a damn because this is what I'm doing. I should say it's the finest city in the world. Sell and get the hell out of there, right? But I can't do that. I don't care, I lost billions of dollars, Somebody said, what do you think he lost? I said, probably 2-3 billion. That's okay. I don't care. They said, do you think he'd do it again? And that's the least of it. Nobody. They always say that, I don't know if you know, Lincoln was horribly treated. Jefferson was pretty horribly. Andrew Jackson, they say, was the worst of all, that he was treated worse than any other president. And I said, do that study again, because I think there's nobody close to Trump. I even got shot. And who the hell knows where that came from, right? No, she just.
My favorite thing is actually the Angel Paste ad that comes on in the last 10 seconds, which just tells you what they think of the people that watch whatever network this is, and why they're actually playing this. But that's incoherent. That sounds like he's rambling.
Yes, it does.
There's not going to be, and here's the other thing, because everyone goes, well, Trump would never step down. Fine. You're not even telling his party to make him step down.
Right.
Because the assumption was also that Biden would not step down, but it was like, Democrats, y'all got to get y'all shit together.
Mm-hmm. I want to say
we're interviewing Democrats privately and anonymously and saying, hey, you don't got to go on the record, but he should step down, right? Hey, I got sources saying he should step down. This is the level of shit that we have here. And I know privately there are Republicans that would say that. So like, yes. I know publicly they wouldn't, but publicly there weren't that many Democrats that wanted Biden to step down.
Agreed.
Privately though, I know these motherfuckers are like, dude, I see this shit show. What the fuck is he doing?
Why don't y'all put cameras next them too?
We're not getting the anonymous leaks even,
right?
Because that, like JL said, the floor where it's just like he got up and he spoke. So there you go, another day of Donald Trump presidency. Now let's ask Kamala Harris, what percentage tax would it be on housing? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Who?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were about to say something. Never mind. No,
I'm just enjoying the.
Right.
Yeah, he's a disgrace. He's okay. I will say something. It's like even when I hear like even with the border bill thing was one of those, like, James, I'm sure you heard him on the Daily or the interview, James Langford, real conservative pastor, Oklahoma senator. But he was like, we met in good faith. We came to an agreement. That's what people say they fucking want.
Yep.
And then they don't hold people accountable for literally stopping. You want bipartisan action. You want immigration action. Democrats came in, gave up a lot, basically told their progressive base, too bad, we got to save our presidency and we do have to do something about the border. So we're making concessions. We've gotten GOP buy-in, which is impossible. And then Trump basically just said no. And that's how do you talk to a country that literally in their face, hey, I want border security. Democrats and Republicans have joined together, which never happens, to give you a strong border security bill. Why didn't we get it? Because Democrats don't know, because Trump said no. But Trump always says he wants to strengthen the border. That can't be. That can't be what happened. That's exactly what happened. Would you like to vote for someone else now? Of course not.
Right. And
insane.
And you didn't even get like Republican dissent. Like the people who actually put the work in on that bill should have left out of that bitch and been
James Langford was the one guy, because he helped write it. He was the only guy who was like, the president did this. Everybody else was like, I gotta go. I gotta do a town hall in my town. Bye.
There should have been mass dissent from the people that actually did the work.
Because that's like, this is what y'all wanted, and he shut it down.
And there should have been fear from those elected officials. I might not get elected again.
Right.
I went in good faith. I negotiated a bill that benefited our side more than the other side. I was going to go back, tout this shit to my people. Look what the fuck we got done. And now I got to go back and be like, yeah, Daddy Trump said not to do it. So no border security. Sorry, everybody. They should have been scared that they won't get elected, but not. I mean, and they might not. I don't know. But it's just interesting that Trump has that stranglehold on the party.
What Trump believes, it's not even what Trump does. It's like now what Trump believes is you know, that's what goes. So you have like I mean, I said to somebody, like, I think I told you guys last time I was on, like, I had a choice of going to 2 hockey games in DC, one on October 29th, one on January 5th. And I said, I don't want to be in DC in the month of January 2025.
Right.
Because Trump, and I think this is going to be the apex or the nadir, whatever, of his like delusional world that he's created for himself. If and when he loses to Kamala Harris, that will break him. And I don't mean that in some funny way. Like, he will break like some evil machine from a futuristic movie where, like, he goes on the warpath, because it will be so against what he believes to be fact and the world. A black woman beat me. This isn't like me just being like, oh, he's racist, so he'll be mad. I think it's going to break him, and his followers will break with him. And they will follow his lead. And if he said it was stolen when Biden whooped his ass, if Kamala Harris beats him, he will declare, like, we don't have a country. It's time to fight. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, he won't even be like subtle, like, hey, metaphorically, guys, we should take over the Capitol. He's going to be like, they're going to take your guns. They're going to take your children and cut off their penises. They're going to destroy our world. They stole it again. And this time they stole it with somebody who's a black. Now she says she's a black. I guess, who knows what she is, but I know one thing, she's not president. So we have to fight. We have to fight everywhere because our country is done. Bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be the whole thing.
That's it. Like, I was nervous in 2020, but I remember watching January 6th and being like, these are people I would not want to be around. But then as they were getting to the Capitol, I was like, is this happening right now? Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, because I was like, what is good? What is this? This is like,
it feels like
crazy.
People have already kind of forgotten, you know, like it can't happen again. But I like, but this is why she needs to win those, because I feel like
Capitol Police, feel free to take the safeties off your guns this time.
Exactly, because between Biden and Kamala, if they win and then they try to pull some January 6th shit, it's gonna be a lot more Ashley Babbitt's, I think, than last time, because they're not gonna pull the goalie the way that the fucking Trump and them did, whatever. Like, we don't need no police today, right? Like, what, skeleton crew? We should be able to get through this. Here's another clip of him talking about trans people.
Things that almost nobody in this room wants, who I think 85-90% of the country doesn't want to there.
Absolutely agree.
But the transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. And you know, many of these childs 15 years later say, what the hell happened? Who did this to me?
This man said childs, first of all.
Childs? Did he just say you send your kid to school, they come back home with an operation?
Yes.
That's not how that shit works.
Same way that
works.
the baby is born and then they kill it. The same level of lie. The one thing I would say is I'm still not sure what he believes.
Right, because he don't stand on anything.
So, like, the only thing I truly think he believes is the racism part of his life, because, like, that's not a political value. That's just his personal value. But I don't know what his, like, actual political ideas are, because I think he's the kind of guy that can say, I want a strong border, and then be like, no, I don't. Not for Biden. I want a strong border if it makes me look good.
Right.
And possibly not then, because once I got to office, fuck y'all and fuck the border. I don't care about y'all motherfuckers for real.
Took all that money, like, wasted it down there. Motherfuckers are still climbing over that paper mache wall he got down there.
The way he did this abortion issue over the last couple weeks, like, where it's been, I'm anti-abortion, I'm pro-choice, I'm anti-abortion.
I did a video like 5 months ago where Trump declared he was pro-life choice. And that's literally literally what he is. He's just like, what today will get me a vote here?
Yes.
What do I have to say to get the most votes? And of course, if a Democrat were doing this, you know, if a Democrat changes their mind because of facts, they're flip-flopper. Like, in other words, Democrats have to be like the 10 Commandments, like set in stone from day one, never change, always be right. Whereas Republicans, once again, it's like, I say what I need to say, and it can be a 180-degree difference from what I said 2 days ago, and it doesn't matter.
All right, I want to get into a couple more segments while we got JL here. Let's do some fucking with black people. Here we go.
Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people.
All right, fucking with black people. We go around the globe, read different articles, and we say how much we feel fucked with as black people by the stuff that happened in the article. We say it in intervals of 25, 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. And if it's more than 100, Dracarys, burn it all down. Today's contestants, everybody. A Maryland black man says Chick Fil-A workers put monkeys on the name of his order. A Maryland man is speaking out about an alleged incident at his local Chick Fil-A where he says he received his drive-through only order, I guess, drive-through order, to find that they had labeled it with the name monkeys. So while going through the drive-through at Chick Fil-A, workers will often ask a customer their name in order to ensure that they get the order correct, especially through the 2 drive-through lanes when they have both of them open.
Mm-hmm.
However, Marquise Vanzago.
I knew it. I'm sorry. I was about to say, was his name Marquise? Because I was like, that's the only name where even they could fuck it. Like, it was literally the one name where I said, that's the only name possible where it might have been like misheard or something. I
So
Mark, it was that
Marquise
name because I was like, his
Vanzago.
name's Dave. Then we know it's racist 100%. Anyway, sorry.
So last week when he received his order from the store, he didn't see Marquise on the bag, but monkeys. Vanzago, who is black, shared the moment left his heart with a little sting, seeing that what he is alleging was a racial attack. You start to think about all the other incidents that may have occurred that you heard about on the news of racial profiling. After seeing the name, he parked and went into the restaurant where he said he spoke with the manager, who apologized and offered a refund for his order. I'm going to write a letter to corporate about this. This is very offensive, Vanzago told the manager. In the video, Vanzago can also be heard trying to speak with the drive-thru employee, though the manager denied him the chance. While some have pondered on the video whether or not a faulty intercom system was to blame, Vanzago shared with Today that he placed his order with a young white male standing outside taking the orders. I believe that he should be held accountable for what he's done. However, Vanzago said he was told by the store owner, John Flatley, that he was not going to fire the employee because they were under 18 and that the employee had only written down the name they heard. This Chick-fil-A independently franchised and operated. The franchisee, this restaurant, has apologized to the guests. Chick-fil-A's corporate marketing department told Today of the incident. However, this experience does not meet our expectations and is unacceptable. Vanzago says that after all this, he hopes employees will become more socially aware. I understand he's a young man. He's 17, still learning, but he also needs to know there are consequences when you do things like that. All right, Karen, 0 to 100.
This one is a tough one for me. I think I'm gonna give it a 25. I'm not really that fucked with. I hate to be the coon, but I'm really not that fucked with. I really do think that instead of the employee asking, spell that for me, which probably would have eliminated that problem, they just typed in what they heard. Because you're dealing with all types of people. A lot of times it's just easy for you to say, can you spell that for me? If it don't sound right to your ears.
Yep. JL?
Well, I'm going to give a 2-part score. I'm going to give the Chick-fil-A management a 25. Because I feel like, in that spirit of Christian forgiveness, they're saying he's young. We believe him that he misheard. But I thought they were going to say, oh, it auto-corrected or something. Like, you know what I mean? But I guess you can't really punch in names if it's going to auto-correct. But I thought, okay, maybe if it auto-corrected. And I give the kid a 50 because if if you're getting the order, like he said, it was the kid, like when they do at the drive-thru where it's like a person you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking to a black guy, it's not over like the speaker, like at a McDonald's drive-thru. If you're talking to a black man and you even think he said monkeys, like, could you spell that for me? Because there's no, you're just like, okay, monkey, here you go. Like, what? What? Like,
always ask.
What? You gotta know. Like,
was like, wait a minute, this don't sound right.
Yeah,
right. So I give him I could go higher than a 50. I feel like, but I feel like I need to leave room for the truly heinous. So I give Chick Fil-A a 25. I give him 50.
For me, for this story, I feel like maybe a 25 fucked with. I really do think he just misheard his name.
I do too.
Because it's just such a random
And 17.
Yeah, it was just a random choice to be racist in a way that just ultimately doesn't matter. But also, you're at Chick-fil-A, which their track record with other issues in the community. So I feel like, hey, in for a penny, in for a pound, you can't be too upset, like you got to just take that. But yeah, I think it's just a true misunderstanding. And the fact that he started filming it and went in and all that shit, I feel like, honestly, he did too much. Like, it'd be one thing if you just like told us about it, like, yo, I can't believe this happened. Once you start making content, I mean, my antenna goes up to be like, you knew this shit wasn't as bad as you were portraying it. And
this is where we are with. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I feel like you, even when you were telling the news reporter, it was like what J-L Cauvin said about the about interviewing Tiger King. Cause like, I feel like I would have came out there and be like, they called you a monkey? What the fuck? Okay, we'll be out there right now. And then it was like, yeah. So I've told the guy my name and he writes down monkeys. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. What's your name again, sir? Marquise. Marquise. And he said,
literally the only name where this could have been an actual accident.
Right.
Like if his name was Steve, it would have been like,
Dave.
I'm like, now was it like a lot of y'all in the cars? Like, no, it's just me. Okay. And he said monkeys plural, but it's just you. Okay. Do you think maybe it's the way you said your name? Because I mean, I'm not trying to say you didn't. I'm not saying it's not. But can you say your name for me real quick? Like I could just see how it could happen. But yeah, so I'm not that fucked with.
But this plays into, to me, it's like, just like art is becoming demeaned, like they're meeting in the middle where it's like, I can't live a regular life unless I'm making content. And I can't be an artist unless I lower myself to content. And then that every day is just somebody doing content. And it's either you're ruining regular life or you're ruining art.
Yes. It's all
something's getting ruined.
All right, let's do some Guess the Race.
This time for the race. This time for the race. This time for the race. This time for the race.
All right, Guess the Race time. Go around the globe, find different articles, guess the race of the people involved. Today's contestants, Karen and J-L Cauvin, and of course the chat room. And they're all racist. Let's get to it. A wild domestic brawl in South Carolina was touched off when one of the combatants was challenged as to why he didn't season the chicken that was cooking so it would crust up.
Oh.
According to investigators, cops responded Sunday to a melee at a residence in Georgetown, city 40 miles south of Myrtle Beach. Cops say Anthony Harper, 27, was preparing chicken when his sister, Hope, 25, and another person questioned him about the food seasoning. Anthony replied, I know how to cook, and Grammy was going to season the chicken. In response, cops said Hope declared, you're not human. You're a dumb dog. What followed was a violent kitchen fight between the siblings. During the scrum, 2 victims, including the third Harper sibling, were scratched on the arms. With the brawl in progress, a 26-year-old man exited the kitchen and fired a 9mm handgun into the resident's ceiling.
Goddamn!
And tried to make an assaultive behavior stop and force those involved to separate. So he did like the movie cliche, like, "Pow, everybody break this shit up." The weapon discharge, however, did not have the desired effect. Hope allegedly grabbed a steak knife and chased after her brother, who declared, "She's going to kill me." At this point, the pair's grandmother exited her room, broom in hand, waved it at Hope until she walked away and put the knife back in the kitchen. With his sister now unarmed, Anthony allegedly grabbed a can of Raid and sprayed Hope in the face and neck. It's turn to Tom and Jerry.
They sound like they do this shit all of the time. Y'all too old to be acting like this.
If this were an episode of The Bear, it would win an Emmy.
For best comedy. Hope countered by seizing the bug killer and spraying Anthony across his whole body. The Harpers asked to press charges against each other. The scratch sibling, a 23-year-old woman, wanted Anthony arrested for leaving her with visible injury to her arms. Anthony was charged with a pair of assault and battery counts, while his sister was busted on a single assault and battery rap. The Harpers each were released on bond from county jail. The man who fired the warning shot was not charged, nor was the broom wielding granny. Well, it is Florida. Come on. You just charging everybody for shooting guns in the house? All right, Karen, guess the race. And they're just obviously the same race.
I'm going to go black.
Karen's going black. All right, JL.
You know, there's different clues that I feel like could go either way. But I will agree with Anthony. I don't know. I like when it makes me think of Trump when he was like, "You're a dog" or something, whatever the insult was. You cook
like
chicken,
a dog.
You cook chicken like a dog.
He does love saying that.
I will. This feels closer than than I'd like it to be. I'll say black, but I'm not like 100% confident.
Check the chat room. We got sounds like a bunch of marquees. White. I see a Tyler Perry film in this black. Salt and pepper to taste white. White. Glenn Close and Deliverance white. The Deliverance. Yeah, my bad. The correct answer is Karen and JL went with black. They were white.
I was the dog like. Oh, sorry, I'm talking over there.
Sorry, and then let me play the applause real quick. And then I'm gonna put their picture on the screen, and I gotta say it is tough, cause like they are white, but they're Pete Davidson white.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? Kenny G on the left.
Kenny G white. Like they got that. They got something. They got something in them, but not enough for to be mistaken for black. But like, check the 23 with me. You know what I mean? But what were you gonna say, Jill?
No, that was a story. That's a good story for the game because it felt like there were multiple clues that pointed in different directions.
Yeah.
The dog. I bet you they're Trump supporters, and they've started calling people dogs like Trump. Now I realize that was probably exactly why they said dog.
Yeah, not seasoning the chicken enough is also could go both ways,
right?
Because like as a black person, I can't think anything more offensive than being like, "What the fuck you doing to the chicken?" But as a black person, I also can't think anything more outlandish than. I can't imagine my family member cooking chicken and not seasoning it. I don't even know that. I don't think I've ever seen that take place. I think I would be more confused than anything. I'd be like, what are you doing?
When black people start cooking, seasoning just fall out the sky, just out of nowhere. Your whole cabinet is full of like Old Bay, Italian,
right.
Seasoning. You don't even know where the fuck it came from. You be like, got seasoning.
Right. If you're in a black person's Airbnb, you'll never run out of shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. Utah woman, one of J-L Cauvin's favorite states. Utah woman gets a plea deal after pulling teen skirt down in a viral TikTok video.
They re-signed Lori Markkinen. That was big because I was ready to abandon Utah if Danny Ainge kept stripping my team down for parts.
What the fuck is Danny Ainge's problem?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
He believes in his own genius. Like he got lucky with the Celtics and the Nets picks, and now he thinks he's like, so now he comes in and is like, get rid of Gobert, get rid of Donovan Mitchell, get rid of Bogdanovich, get rid of Mike Conley, the team that was the 1 seed 2 years ago. I got this, everybody.
Right.
And then he's tanked 2 mid-seasons in a row. See, if you're going to tank, you tank. You don't go, okay, we're 26 and 25. Okay, let's tank. Let's get the 10th pick. Let's get the 10th pick.
every Utah Jazz locker room, it just has like a cardboard cutout of Danny Ainge in clothes that they rip off a piece of the clothes every time. Because that's how the fuck they play. Like he's like, we're tanking. They're like, the fuck we are. Like, we're gonna go out here and try to win. On a personal level, I can't afford. You didn't get the kind of players that can afford to be on a team where they went like, yeah, we went 8 and 60, whatever the fuck. Like, you ain't got guys where it's like, bitch, I'm Jordan Clarkson. I have to be on a 43-win team to keep my career going.
Right.
And it was like Lauri Markkanen, that trade was, we got Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen, and it was like, they're good players. Well, guess what? You hired a new coach who's a good coach. You got some underachieving lottery picks who now have found a way to achieve. That's good. That's a good thing, not a bad thing in the NBA.
Back to this.
Sorry.
It's all good. No, it's fine. Ida Lorenzo, 49, confronted a young woman April 20th at a St. George, Utah eatery in a spat partly caught on camera. In the video posted April 21st, she appears to brag that she works for the state as she admonishes the young woman for her skirt. I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch your ass cheeks hang out again, I will call CPS, she says in the clip. The video...
Protective Services?
Yeah. The video is recorded by a female in the group and captioned, Karen gets upset by friend is wearing a miniskirt. So she aggressively grabs it, yanks it down, and says, you're probably underage. You probably shouldn't be wearing that. Then causes a scene in a busy restaurant. First of all, that is a long caption. In the clip, the young woman in the skirt is not visible. Lorenzo is seen talking to a group of young girls who defend their friend by saying she's over 18, she's 19 years old, and you don't get to touch her, urging her to call the police. Lorenzo ended up calling St. George police on April 21st, a day after the incident. Oh my God. Because she saw the video on social media. So she said, I'm gonna call the police. They were like, do it. She didn't call the police. Then she saw she went viral on TikTok. Then she called the police.
Right. Because she was probably gonna be like, okay, that old lady just crazy. But just like, oh, bitch, I'm online.
No. The woman who pulled the skirt down, she called the police. She said, I'm gonna call the police because your skirt too short. And then she didn't.
And thought she was in the right. And what getting arrested? What?
She called dispatch saying that she holds a position with the state and the video calls a threat to her life.
If you don't get the hope, she better be glad they ain't turn around and just whoop her ass, the whole group.
She told police that she confronted a young woman at a restaurant who was wearing explicit clothing that exposed her private parts with children present. Lorenzo told law enforcement that she felt it was her responsibility to address the woman and that she tried to pull the woman's skirt down to cover her exposed genitalia. And officer asked why Lorenzo, who assumed the young female was a minor, would find it appropriate to touch her.
Right.
She responded that she never touched the woman, just her skirt.
She
told police that the woman and her friends recorded part of the incident and posted to social media with the tagline being a Karen. On April 22nd, the woman who was alleged to have been wearing the scorched skirt the short skirt came forward to police saying she was sexually assaulted in the lobby of a restaurant on April 20th. She said Lorenzo confronted her while her back was turned and that without warning, she felt cold hands go up her skirt, touching her buttocks before she felt her skirt being pulled on. She was startled by the encounter and felt violated.
Right.
The victim and 7 other witnesses came forward and filled out witness statements. The female victim said she was wearing underwear, shorts underneath the skirt, making it impossible for her to have been exposing herself. Lorenzo was charged with sexual battery, a Class A misdemeanor. The charge is lowered to a Class B misdemeanor in a plea deal. She entered a plea of abeyance, no contest. Under the agreement, no sentence will be imposed for a year as long as she complies with the terms. She's not allowed to commit any crimes. She may not have contact with the victim, and she must undergo a mental health evaluation. The day she was charged, Lorenzo was sent a termination letter from the Utah Attorney General's office, where she worked as a legal secretary for less than 2 months. Oh, so you barely was there. What? You ain't even passed the 90 days.
I was about to say, you ain't got insurance.
Right. What? I work for the state. girl. The letter of termination says she was not passed your probationary employment period successfully and cited your non-compliance with policies and standards related to performance. So there you go. Guess the race of, what is her name? Ida Lorenzo.
Oh, everybody in here is white, and like I said before, she really better be glad, because if she'd have hit the wrong group of people, this would have ended terribly. It'd be like Karen gets her ass whooped because people like, you touched my friend, and then they would have went and just mollywopped her.
Yeah, I can't imagine what her, if she has a husband or somebody at home, what they were thinking.
Right.
Like, you got fired for on your day off for what?
You lost your job for this?
Right.
You do that? Why? Why did you do that, Karen? Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's how that conversation at the house went.
JL?
This is not John Collins's girlfriend. This has to be a white person. It feels like, I mean, it's Utah. That's a great context clue, but I also feel like this feels like some, Latter-day Saint elder trying to reprimand, you know what I mean? It comes off as very like church, like, how dare you in this sanctified space. And I don't think it was honestly, somebody like this would probably see a woman of color dressed like that and just snicker and like go like, they're trashy. But she felt like she could like scold her in this. So white, gotta be white.
Karen, no relation. White, Italian white, Mormon white, grab him by the hem of the pussy white. White, magic underwear white. The correct answer is white. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
100% like.
Oh no, this is like something out of Big Love. Like, look at those bangs. That is not somebody who's dressing like trashy to a restaurant.
Right. And everybody in the background is clearly like, this has made a commotion.
Yeah,
like, everyone's like,
making
oh,
a big
God.
ass scene.
What a Karen. What a fucking Karen. That is crazy. All right, let's go to the final one.
That's the elite Karen. Round. That's elite Karen. Just like you have 10 out of 10 gender wars. That's like a 10 out of 10 Karen.
Yeah.
The top tier.
I almost want to see the woman's skirt because I would bet money, dollars to donuts, no ass cheeks was hanging out.
Probably was.
I made me say no. That's the criminal. Sorry, I was talking like the That's no. She has like that. I'm the third wife haircut in a very rigorous
and like
Latter-day Saint family.
Like, she was offended by seeing thighs. Like, she's like, what the fuck? They're children and they can see your thighs. Your vagina's hanging out. You're like, what? No, it's not. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Pull your skirt down. Like, okay.
Ma'am, do you know what a vagina is? Right. The homeschooling did not take.
No, it did not.
Yes, it's anything up past the knees. Everyone knows that.
My bishop told me that once your knee is exposed, that's how you get pregnant.
Right. All right, last thing. Bonus round.
Triple the points. Triple the points. Triple the points. Triple the points. Triple the race. Triple the points. Triple the points. Triple the points. Triple the race. Triple the race.
It's tied up. A 59-year-old internist sold his Florida medicine practice in 2022 to a fellow doctor.
Okay.
In recent months, Giovanni Baula, B-A-U-L-A, Baula, reportedly became upset over the business with the purchaser, Dr. Dylan Dinesh, 32, who runs affiliated health clinics out of Baula's former office in St. Petersburg. The investigator, the court records don't say what the nature of the business dispute was. It's just that they're having a dispute. So investigators allege that Baula went to Dinesh's office on July 30th and soaked the front doors in the gallons of fluid, which had the odor of urine. Baula allegedly returned to the property again to unleash a cascade of the rank smelling liquid on August the 17th. So 2 separate times he poured gallons of what smelled like urine on this door. And this is the one whose last name is Bowler, Giovanni
The
Bowler.
one who sold it.
Yes.
Yes.
Both occasions, Bowler and his vehicle were recorded by surveillance cameras. The urine-smelling liquid soaked into the front wooden doors, causing irreparable damage. Replacing the door will cost $1,500. The medical practice suffered $6,000 in other losses related to the urine attacks. Bowler was arrested yesterday and charged with felony count of criminal mischief. He was released from custody last night at the post of $5,000 cash bond. His medical license, which expires in January, is active and listed his primary practice address as his $1.7 million waterfront home in Gulfport. So he's rich, or he got it to be spending like that. 2003, he was formally reprimanded by the Board of Medicine and fined $10,000 in order to perform 100 hours of community service after he improperly prescribed medication to an online client who never gave a physical exam. Ordered tests for and provided an adequate diagnosis, among other standards of care violations. At the time, he was employed by virtualmedicalgroup.com, a telemedicine outfit which appears to be defunct. Guess the race of Mr. Giovanni Bowler. Karen?
White.
Karen's going white. JL?
I was actually thinking Indian, but Giovanni, if that's not his like taken name, like he moved here and was like, I need an American name, and it was the other person he was throwing urine on their door was, I think that was an Indian name. I'm gonna say this is some caste beef carried over to America. I'm gonna say, despite Giovanni, I'm gonna say Indian.
All right, let's check the chat room, see what they believe. South Asian, nip tuck, white. The correct answer is, I'm gonna give it to JL. He's some form of Asian.
But that Giovanni was a real.
Yeah, that's what got me, JL.
And of course, Karen.
I got it right.
Oh, I don't know. I went too specific. I deserve kind of partial boo. I got the continent right.
You know what? No winner. It was tied then. I know South Asian is what we're calling Indian people, and this guy looks some form of Asian, but he looks like Hank Hill's neighbor to me.
Yes, Laos.
Like
they call it Laotian, dummy.
Yeah, but at any rate, so that is still super wild behavior. I guess I mean, look, we've all been there before. We've all been upset. We've all had disputes, but I don't think I've ever been that pissed off.
That was just a pissy situation.
All right, hold on. Karen needs one.
Looks like his neighbor. Wait, he said to his neighbor, "You're in trouble."
I feel like he was sitting around trying to think of an idea to get back at him, and then it just struck him, like, out of the blue. Like he was like, he had an epiphany. He said, "Urethra." All right, that was a stretch.
That's hilarious.
All right, so
there's a vast difference about thinking about it and actually doing it.
Yes, it is, J.A.
Yeah, I'm surprised none of you guys European.
Oh, that was a good one.
All right, sword ratchetness.
The hell is wrong with you?
All right, this one kind of takes us full circle. A California woman brought a sword and a whip and other weapons into the Capitol during January 6th riot.
Damn.
Yeah, she's charged with taking a cache of weapons, including a sword and a steel whip and a knife. They make steel whips? Jesus.
A steel whip?
The fuck do you need that for?
Woo!
Damn. I'd hate to have been a slave on the fucking steel whip plantation.
Right?
Going a little too fucking hard, my man.
Woo! I didn't know they came in steel form either. I thought they were leather.
Indiana Jones is like, take it down a notch. And a knife into the U.S. Capitol during the January 6th insurrection attempt.
Took a go bag. What is this?
Right. Kennedy Lindsay has had a short sword, a steel tactical whip, a collapsible baton, pepper spray, a butterfly knife, and a flashlight taser in her possession when a U.S. Secret Service officer searched her backpack. Now, I'm sure she was just there for the tour, just some Americans visiting. Just one of those very fine people we hear so much about.
Very patriotic. Okay.
She was arrested in Los Angeles last month on charges including disorderly conduct and possession of a dangerous weapon in the Capitol building. I gotta say, I know everybody is down on him, but I really do appreciate Merrick Garland keeping that same energy.
He been on their ass. He's a quiet man, but he is like, bitch, I'm gonna get the job done.
He's very much like, if you're in line to get arrested, stay in line.
Don't leave,
because I'm getting to you. I know some of y'all think that it ain't shit, but I promise you, I'm still on your ass. 4 years later, 3 years later, it don't matter.
And that's why they don't want Kamala to win, because they know if she wins, he gonna be continued to be on their ass.
Don't fuck around and put Eric Holder back in that bitch. They better be careful.
Trump said he's gonna pardon them. Like, once again, this is one of these like, hey, Merrick Garland moved too slow. Like, you know, he didn't get the job done. It's like, and you think Trump getting back in office will somehow accelerate justice? No, the justice we've even gotten will be erased. They'll all be, he's going to pardon all of them. Give me a break. Like, he's going to find like, well, these 3 people are, but no, he's just going to write on day one, like, everybody, here's a get out of jail free card.
And keep in mind that, like, they overwhelmed the system with the amount of numbers. It is like there's a finite amount of people you can process at a time. You can't just be like, we arrested 400 people that day, 400 people going to jail tomorrow. Like, you got to have a trial. They got to have a defense. You got to have prosecution. You got to pull up all the fucking evidence. So it's, to me, every time I hear of a new arrest and we're years away from it, I applaud.
Me too.
Because I'm like, slow and steady is the pace of our justice system for the most part.
Yes, it does not move quickly. Never has, never will.
Especially for this many people.
Right.
For a rich person, it's even crazier. Like, Donald Trump slowed shit to a halt. But this is energy. This is integrity. This is just because you think we're gonna run out the clock on us. No, I'm gonna get your ass too. So they arrested her last month. More than 1,400 people have been charged. People expected all these people to be in jail by now. It's 1,400 fucking people. And they got to go to the DC district. You got to do all this shit over there. You can't just be like, all right, you go back to LA. We'll try you there.
I'm like, bring your ass up here. If not, we'll come get you and haul your ass up here.
Yeah. She was charged. Lizzie was charged with a woman who flew with her. Oh, okay. So she and another woman were charged together, who flew with her from California to Washington, D.C. She bought plane tickets for both of them after President Trump announced that there would be a wild protest on January 6th. Lindsay posted on social media she was going because Boss Man called for us to be there. After attending Trump's Stop the Steal rally near the White House, they rode to the Capitol on the back of a golf cart, the same way Trump plays golf. Everyone is storming the building, folks, she said on a self-recorded video. We must do this as patriots. It says so in the Constitution.
Sure it does.
Says a person that's never read a Constitution. The Constitution.
It does not say that.
It really say whatever you want it to say. It's a magical document, man. Whatever you believe.
The Bible and the Constitution are very flexible. In the hands of like Christian nationalists and these folks. Like,
there's shit that didn't exist that they're like, God don't like planes. And you like, what where is this coming from?
What is happening here?
Like, I feel like if you interview Royce White, who won't get on a plane, I feel like he'd be like, well, clearly Jesus don't want us on planes. I mean, why the fuck would that's the devil's work or some shit. You like that's not in the Bible.
Right. It's okay to be afraid of flying. You don't have to make it a spiritual religious thing.
Right. I'm confused about this whole thing with the genders and stuff. You know, God said, ain't no such thing as trans people. Did he say that? Did he say? Right. And he also said they had to use the right bathroom and that they couldn't teach at a school. That's in there. You sure? Gay people can't get married. Okay. All right, cool. Which means I can't sell them cakes because God wouldn't like that.
Not sell them cakes.
He's very strict about who can get a cake. Like, I don't even give them birthday cakes. Gay people don't have birthdays to me. I'm like, they all 1 day old. All of
They're
them.
all Jehovah's Witnesses to me.
Right.
They can't celebrate anything as far as I'm concerned.
And I also love how they snitch on themselves on January 6th. This is my favorite part of January 6th.
Yeah, the GPS is turned on, Instagram lives.
All of them going live
it's
on
your
True.
Girl.
All of them going live on True Social. Just evidence.
But the thing about that what's so funny, what's so telling about that is it's the same way that when Obama got elected, they viewed that as their country disappearing, even though everything about it was beautiful and sort of what the country's supposed to stand for. Half immigrant, biracial, came up through his talent, country changing, but still all American, all right. 100% American story. And they viewed that as like, oh no, it's not our country anymore. And with January 6th, it's like, oh no, it's still our country because look, I can commit crimes on camera.
Right. And the thing for me is I just imagine as the lawyer, as the defense lawyer, where it's just like, all right, so we're in a trial. All right, what's the evidence that the state has? Oh, they have your client on video in the Capitol holding up a gun and a sword saying,
and the GPS turned on with the time and the date stamp.
Yeah, it's on January 6th. All the other people that have been arrested and convicted are in the background. And they're saying, I'm about to go commit some crimes in the name of Donald Trump. Fuck. All right. Fuck. All right, bring her in, I guess. Like, there's this point, if you're a defense attorney, is what insanity. Like, what can you try?
Got to plead down.
Like, and then that's the other thing. These dumb motherfuckers, it's like, all right, so you got to plead to some shit so you won't go to jail forever. No, because as a constitutionalist, and if it is my right,
they fought it. They threw the goddamn book at her. They was like, "Oh, you gonna waste our time, bitch? All of the years."
I'm just talking about the defense attorney. Mm-hmm. I know why the prosecutors doing what they're doing. It's a layup, but for the defense attorney, I know they're like, "Give me some shit."
Give me some
hope, man. Like you could do 3 months. You could do 3 months if you come in and cry. And you're still a white person in America. Just
right. You'll be fine.
Say sorry you didn't understand. Say,
community service.
Blame Donald Trump. He misled you. It was that shit happened for like a month. And then they all went to this like, nah, fuck that. We're patriots. I'm like, oh, anyway. So she told the FBI she had retrieved the backpack from her hotel room after attending the speech. She described her confiscated weapons as tools and acknowledged that they were in her backpack when she entered the Capitol, which is all they really care about. She's like, but I said they were tools.
It don't matter.
Not weapons.
Also, you're probably not allowed to have the weapons on the ground.
My telescopic baton, my steel whip, and my sword, tools. There's no law against bringing tools into
murder. Tools are different than murder weapons. It's in the Constitution.
Come on, look it up, people. Wake up, sheeple.
Not the sheeple.
As a sovereign American. Anyway, Lindsay didn't immediately respond to a text message seeking comment. God, I would pay $1 million to be the reporter that gets to send that text message. Hey,
by the way, this is another reason why these people are going to go ballistic on if and when Kamala Harris loses, because half of them are probably like in that ecosystem of like, well, we know Trump's winning, just like we knew in 2020. Yep. So when he wins, we're good. And if and when he loses, hopefully, they're going to be like, so now what? Is he going to, can he pardon us now since he's technically still president? No, actually, he's not president. Joe Biden is president.
And
now
he's
you
probably
can really learn that lesson the hard
now,
way.
now the good news is if you're going to jail, stay there, you might get to meet him. Okay, because if he don't become president,
Hey.
Yeah, that's why
it's
he
not
fighting
looking too good.
Yeah, that's why he fighting
for
tooth and nail.
his future prospects, because he's not winning these cases right now. And like motherfuckers, like Jack Smith refiled his charges and took all that shit out to be like, let's streamline it then. Fuck it. All right, cool. We'll take out the shit he did in office. Now what? Because he still did a lot of crimes.
Yes, he did.
So yeah, he gotta win. He fighting on that lie. So yeah, that's it for today's show. JL, man, it's always great to see you, man.
Thanks so much for having me.
Coming through. I know I always make you a punching bag on the show. You're one of my favorite punching bags with the podcast.
I'm like a punching bag. I'm just big and tall and just right there for shots to get fit.
I really tease the ones I love, man.
I know.
That's Logic's love language.
Yeah, I can't help myself, man. Which means if I'm not teasing you, you out there,
think twice.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Y'all got to step it up. JL, tell people where to find you, man.
Yes, sir. JLComedy.com has all my show info, ticket links, a lot of live shows coming up. So hopefully I'll see some Black Guy Who Tips fans, as I always do. And then if you haven't watched it yet, please, and you have Amazon Prime or Tubi, watch Half Blackface. And then anybody who hasn't gotten it or listened to it, obviously in descending order, buy, gift it, download it, stream it. You know, whatever you're able to do. The Half Blackface album that is now out, that is mine 100%. So that's it. Everything else, you know, the same. I got my 2 podcasts. Everything's on my website. If you're not familiar, if you're a new Rod listener, welcome to the very bitter and hilarious world that is J-L Cauvin.
Yeah, make sure y'all go check out the podcast. Raining Up Parade is great.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mike on there. He feels like he doesn't know what to do with all this newfound hope that came his way out of nowhere. But he is smug enough to be like, I was right about Biden stepping down. So you get like a good little mix of.
And like I said, I'll tell people one line from this week's podcast. I said I was an unabashed Biden supporter. I was excited to vote for him. I thought his presidency has been successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so I felt like a guy going to his friend's wedding. I was like, this is a great day. I'm with you, man. I'm voting for you. Good job. Congratulations. I said, but when Kamala Harris took over, I didn't realize how excited I get. I said, I feel like I'm fucking a bridesmaid at my friend's wedding, which is even better. And I didn't know how to express it. And I thought that's the perfect way, because I was not like, oh, life sucks, and now it's great. I was like, life's good. Go Joe Biden. Oh, what's that?
Right.
Oh, I am actually single at this Joe Biden wedding. I would love to see your suite. As a bridesmaid, you got a great room. Let's go.
Yeah,
and that's not gender. That has nothing obviously to do with Kamala Harris being a woman.
Right.
That's just I wasn't expecting how excited maybe seeing other people get optimistic. I was already happy to vote for Biden, but then it gave me like extra, you know, like Lil Jon at the convention. I did not expect, like, that was awesome. Like that, if you told me that, it'd be like, oh, this is going to be cheesy. No. In practice, it was awesome.
I was on the phone with a homie after the day after the convention or whatever. And this was a dude that told me when she first was kind of like seen as the incumbent or the candidate, he was like, man, they don't know they got a loser. I'm like, she's not gonna lose. She's not a loser. You don't understand. We've been waiting. The world is ready for this. And he's like, all right, man, but Richard Whitmer, all these people. I was like, none of those motherfuckers better not do it, because they're gonna end their career.
Yes, they are.
It is what it is. It's just, you know, you don't have to like it, but if they step over her, they put themselves in a you better win the presidency situation, as opposed to a like, all right, you gave it a shot, you were our best hope, and it didn't work. They can never do shit again, right? But so anyway. Time passes.
And I love the suggestion that like the Republicans kept saying, even though it was kind of a plausible scenario where they were like, well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to replace Biden and they're going to do this. And here's the thing. I don't think it was obviously not a plan.
Right.
Like, but even if it was, and especially if it was, good.
Yes.
Good, because it has completely ruined you.
Yes, it's a masterful plan that backfired on you, motherfucker. Like if the right is like, we got him cornered. Whoops. You know what I mean? It's like when you're holding Michael Jordan at 8 points through 3 quarters, and you just can't help yourself but say some shit like with 8 minutes left in the fourth, like, you ain't hitting shit today, bitch. It's like, oh. Thank you for the permission to step it up. So
hey, Drew Bledsoe's injured. Good news, everybody. They're bringing in some guy named Tom Brady. I think he sucks.
We got all shit.
Oh, damn.
And so the thing I was gonna say is, so the day after the convention, we're talking on the phone, and I'm like, hey man, I can feel the energy on the screen. There's some fucking happening in Chicago. like he was like, yeah, it's an environment where like if you're not getting any that night, it's because you didn't want any. Like,
right. No matter what you want, I was like, all out there.
I have never seen a political convention where I'm like, it's gonna be convention babies coming off of this motherfucker. It's gonna be like 10 months from now. It's gonna be like, yeah, this is my baby was born today. Kamala Smith, like
Kamala Walls Jones.
Right. Oh man. All right, that's it, man. We'll be back throughout the week. We might take tomorrow off. Tomorrow is our anniversary and Labor Day.
Whoa, happy anniversary.
So, thank you. I think it'll be 22 years. So we'll probably do our annual go out to a nice dinner. And
you were married 9 months after I started comedy. See, you avoided the jinx. The jinx hadn't built up yet.
Thank God. Thank God.
So it didn't have the power to ruin lives.
Right.
Not quite the same.
Right. But you know, it was like a few months before he started comedy. 9/11. Mm-hmm.
True.
Think about that, people. All right, y'all. We'll be back. Until next time. I love you.
I love you too.
Bye, everybody.